I recently watched 2024's I Saw the TV Glow for the first time, and thought a lot about the media effects it had on me. It's physiological media since it made me cry, but also effective media since the crying was due to my emotions. I went into it knowing it was popular with trans audiences, but nothing else. I was left sobbing till the end of the credits, unable to move or speak. All I could really feel were the dry tears on my face. And perhaps the worst, most confusing part of it all, I didn't know why. It wasn't until I rewatched the film that I was able to grasp a better idea of what about it resonated with me so deeply. Seeing Isabel and Tara stripped from a reality where they were powerful and thrown into a prison where all they could do was watch their own lives unfold as a TV show reminded me of my own pre-transition dissociation. I had completely forgotten that was how I used to describe it, feeling as if my memories weren't real and I had just been caught up on a show. And while this was just a rewatch, I found myself even more emotionally invested in some ways, as I begged at my screen for Owen to join Tara. Though I find myself more similar to Tara, who did their best to approach their true world, I remember feeling like Owen, relegating the thought of what if I was a girl to another one of my childish superhero fantasies, equivalent to what if I was Spider-Man. Similarly, Owen is forced to view the Pink Opaque as a kid show. We've both felt that our existence is worth apologizing for, and that our true selves are something only to be tried on alone in a bathroom. The film represented this struggle with identity in an indirect way that made it more tangible. That being said, it empowers the viewer by stating that there is still time, and showing that no matter how long you've been silenced, you can still start being you.
Hi, it's Matea. So, if I'm being honest, what you just saw was a video that I had made around 5 or 6 months ago. And I like it. I like what I say in that. I like how I edited it. And it's been done for a while. And I just kept sitting on it. Out of this series of videos that I'm trying to upload, that one felt the strangest to upload in its current form. And I think it was because even though I kind of do get to the bottom of what I thought was bothering me or really getting to me about I Saw the TV Glow, there was a lot more for me to really think about and expand my own thoughts on. So this segment of the video is going to be me a little bit more just unscripted, talking about my more raw feelings of the movie a couple months later. So to start off, I was really late to watching this movie. It had come out around spring of last year, and I didn't see it till mid-October. And, you know, I had spent months hearing trans people online talk about it, talk about how it was a great metaphor for dysphoria, and how much it meant to them, and how beautiful it was, and looked and sounded. But I had just not watched it. And there wasn't really a specific reason for that, I just, you know, I thought it was going to be a cool trans movie. So, mid-October, very good friend of mine took me to a small trans film festival where they were playing I Saw the TV Glow in a little theater. I'd gone, you know, just expecting to watch a cool movie that I assumed was going to resonate with me, and I was also honestly hoping to meet some more trans girls there. You know, I was hoping that they would also be seeing the movie and that I would get to make a couple of friends. That didn't end up happening because as soon as the credits rolled up, all I could really say was, I'm not okay. And that was right before I burst into tears and began sobbing on my close friend's arm. Not for a few seconds or minutes, but past when the credits were over. I was crying on their arm. They took a break to the bathroom. I was still crying. They came back. I continued crying. All of the girls that I had hoped to befriend when I went to see the showing were slowly leaving the theater until it was just us and the couple of workers that were still there. And then I went home with this extremely uneasy feeling. I didn't really talk the entire way back, which was about an hour commute, and just going back, I wasn't even really able to think about the movie itself or even how I was feeling in a more mental state, but just physically, I was so shocked and touched in a way that I've never felt before from a single piece of media. I love Daredevil. He's my sweet, beautiful baby boy, mwah, mwah, but there's never been a single issue or episode of the show or anything like that that's really gotten to me the way that I Saw the TV Glow did. On the way home, I was waiting at the train station with my friend, staring across at the wall that was just in front of me with a little mural on it. And all I could really hear was somebody a couple feet away from me eerily playing a single-string violin that echoed through the subway. And I just stood there, not even really thinking, but just kind of being. Normally after watching a movie, I love to yap about what I thought about it and what it made me feel and how it looked or whatever. But after seeing this movie, I had nothing to say. I got home and I just hid in a bathroom and cried, and then I went to bed. I woke up the next day with this eerie feeling still draped over me, and trying to, I guess in a way, relive the movie and go back through my thoughts on it, I went for a run just listening to the soundtrack. But even though I got to the end of the entire thing, I was still very confused. I mean, generally, yes, it was a great metaphor for dysphoria. It was really good at capturing the surrealness of it in a way that wasn't super direct, but also really impactful. But there was more, and I did not know what it was. Flash forward to a few months ago, the same friend that I had seen the movie with and I were showing each other pictures of ourselves from a few years ago. For me, a lot of those pictures were pre-transition, and later that night, before going to bed, that friend had told me just how weird it is looking at pictures of me pre-transition. Not just because I look different or because I had a mustache, but because there's this visible disgust for my own body that you can just read in my eyes alone. They said that they have trouble recognizing that as me because now it's such a big part of myself that I'm happy and loving of myself and I'm proud to be me or whatever. But you can just look at a picture of me from a few years ago and tell that that wasn't the case. Something about this really touched me, and again, I started sobbing, thinking about how empty I used to feel. This is around the time that another friend and I were talking about just how much I used to complain about the life that I was living a few years ago, and how I would talk about not wanting to live anymore, and I would maybe hurt myself, and how I would kind of exclusively sleep during the days and only be awake at night when I couldn't be perceived by anybody awake. All of this culminating into me realizing that I probably had depression for the last couple of years before my transition. It was around then that I began to realize that that was what felt so special about that movie. The fact that watching it had opened me up to a well of emotions that I had not allowed myself to experience for years. So yeah, no wonder I cried a lot. The way that the pink opaque is dangled in front of Owen, but he's never really able to experience it, reminded me of my own struggle to really feel anything. He wants to watch it when he's younger, but is told it's a kid's show, even though it plays after his bedtime. And then when he's older, working at the arcade, tons of children are able to play pink opaque arcade games at the arcade he works at, but obviously he can't play the games himself because he has to clean the arcade. Or even before that, when he works at the movie theater, you know, the place where you watch stuff, he's not able to watch the movies. He's just cleaning the rows and making sure everything's all good before and after the movies, but he's never really getting to experience them, even though there's no reason that he actually shouldn't be. It also reminded me of some of my own experiences with the way it actually does just kind of tackle toxic masculinity and heterosexuality. When Owen goes to work and he walks in on his coworkers hooking up, and then afterward the man involved in it taunts him, saying that Owen has a chance with the girl. That reminded me of some of my own experiences. Guys were weird to me even when I was a boy because they read me as a very gay boy. And as somebody who is a very big fan of Daredevil, I can really relate to loving a piece of media that feels realer than what's real. And that's real. The way that Owen loves the pink opaque reminds me of the way that Matea loves Daredevil. It's where I go to when I don't understand the world, when I don't understand myself. It's been that thing for years, and when I didn't want to bother taking part in whatever was going on in the real world, that's where I would immerse myself, just like Owen does with the pink opaque. Owen's love for the pink opaque also really speaks for the importance of representation. Owen quite literally sees himself on TV, and that's the thing that keeps him moving in life. Similar to a lot of people in the real world, it's important to know that people like us exist elsewhere. I also don't want to paint this as it seeming like I had absolutely nobody to talk to during this period of my life, because that could not be further from the truth. I had a good handful of little trans-mask weirdos surrounding me, letting me talk to them about how I felt and letting me listen to them and their experiences. And yeah, like Tara and Owen, some of them kind of just completely clocked my situation. That's not a girl, and she is depressed. My bad, I guess I wasn't hiding it as well as I thought. But still, no matter how much I talked to these people, and no matter how much they pointed me in the right direction, they couldn't make me transition like Tara can't make Owen try to leave the Midnight Realm with them. I'm in love with this film's focus on community. Owen and Tara aren't going to be getting through this alone, and that's shown. When Owen is older and he tries to go back and watch the pink opaque, it's different. I think the film really speaks for the line of thought that if there's even a single person that is still not free, then the rest of us can't be free. We have to work together as a community to thrive and be successful, and if we don't, then we won't really get anywhere. Yes, Tara escapes the Midnight Realm, and maybe goes to fight Mr. Melancholy on their own, but Owen's not there. Owen is still in the Midnight Realm, and if they can't fight Mr. Melancholy together, then they can't fight Mr. Melancholy at all. And like Owen at the end of the film watching the pink opaque with something being off, I'm scared to watch I Saw the TV Glow again. Not just because it's a scary movie, but because even though I watched it once with a friend and then once alone, it touched me so deeply, and part of me is afraid that that won't happen again, and another part of me is afraid because I know that it will. In its own way, I Saw the TV Glow has kind of become my own pink opaque, aside from Daredevil. Something that brings up these intense emotions that you can do anything but ignore, and kind of feel crazy about it. When I watch that movie, I am fully immersed in its reality. Not the one that surrounds me, but just the movie in itself. It's also something that I can really only do with people, but it's also that weird mix of I feel too emotional to watch it around people who I'm not super close with, but if I watch it alone, I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot. I cry a lot, I scream a lot at the TV, I beg the characters to make different decisions when I know that I can't change the ending. But when I watch the movie, essentially I just lock in on a level that I've never been able to achieve with any single other piece of media, and I'm grateful for it. Watching the movie just does something to me, and I learn a little bit about myself every time I do it. To be honest, I really do not know when I'm going to watch I Saw the TV Glow again. But I do know that no matter what I do, I'm not going to be able to forget how it made me feel. Yeah, it might be a sad movie. It might be a really sad movie, but looking back, it really made me realize how much I have opened myself to feeling emotions. And sure, those aren't always the happiest, but at the point that I'm at right now in my life, in a body that I'm finally able to love, a voice that I like to hear, with a line of thought that I like to think, I'm a lot happier with the fact that I feel at all. Even if it's not the happiest sometimes, I'm doing so much better than I was in the era of my life that this movie reminds me of. Thank you for watching this. This is the kind of video that I've really always wanted to make, one that talks about my strong feelings on a piece of media, but also how that piece of media reflects on my own emotions. I feel like I've kind of been trying to do this for years, but for many of those years, I didn't really have the developed emotions to talk about yet. Whereas now, I kind of do. This little setup here is something that I'd like to try out again, but it is a work in progress. I still do like the tight, neatly edited kinds of videos that I make, or even like the beginning of this video, those first 2 minutes. But something like this that shows me at a point where I'm much more comfortable showing my body than I was years ago is also really fun. And something like this, I think, is visually interesting enough to warrant showing me and whatever I got going on back here. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope we can all grow to let our TVs glow a little bit brighter.